It's the event of the year, the 2022 Taste of Black Charleston, Friday, March 11th at the Ladson Exchange Park. Join us for a variety of chefs, caterers, and restaurateurs from across the area as they compete to be the best of the region. Featuring America's Got Talent singer Ray Singleton and celebrity chef Carlos Brown. It's the Taste of Black Charleston. Good friends, great food, and a grand time. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit blackexposouth.com.
It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hello, it's showtime. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are watching me live. It is time for the Geno Jones Show. You know how we get down. I'm live right here on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones channel. You and everybody you know, everybody that you like, that you love, that you can't stand and really don't want to be around, folks you hate, strangers, aliens, doesn't matter. Folks you see on the subway, on the train, on the interstate, in church, in the store, in the mall, wherever, in the gym, tell them to subscribe to the Geno Jones channel right here on YouTube. Subscribe, share, and like. Subscribe, share, and like this in every episode. The Geno Jones Show brought to you today and this week and next week and the week after that by the 2022 Black Expo here in Charleston, South Carolina. It will kick off on March 12th. That is a Saturday. We got educational seminars. You got celebrity guest speakers. Our celebrity guest speaker, the keynote speaker, it's my good buddy Anthony Anderson from the TV show Blackish. They got a gospel superstar, Kiera Sheard. She's going to be there. Also, Roy Chip Anthony. It's going to be like an R&B Southern Soul day party featuring my buddy who's been a guest 3 times on the show, Roy Chip Anthony. So it's going to be amazing. And they got vendors, shopping, and a whole lot more. And then Friday night, you just saw the commercial, the Taste of Black Charleston. It is amazing. Some of the best chefs and caterers in the country come together and you sample all this great food and you have great music. They'll have live music. They'll have a DJ and they'll have the king of MCs, not the king, the king of MCs, king. That's me. So you don't want to miss that. All right. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, we have a weekly update about the Black Expo. You can go to blackexposouth.com. You can get your tickets right now. blackexposouth.com. Tomorrow we will have an update and we will have the founder and CEO of Black Pages USA, the man that puts together the Charleston Black Expo every year. My good buddy Darren Thomas. He'll be my guest. It's an inside joke. But you'll get to hear and see the joke, and I'll explain it to you tomorrow. But Darren Thomas, he may go by a different name tomorrow, but we'll save that for Friday. I want to start off the show with some good news, even though, the main information, the main news, what everybody's talking about is just really horrible. But this information just came across before I went on camera. The 3 former officers in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that stood around and assisted in the murder of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin. And Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. And there were 3 other officers stood around, helped Derek Chauvin murder George Floyd, helped by putting their knee on his leg and holding him down and keeping people, even like medical professionals, from coming to help George Floyd while he was dying. Those 3 former officers, they were found guilty up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, of violating George Floyd's civil rights. They could get life in prison, each one of them. So I'm not even going to dignify them by mentioning their names. Their names don't matter now. What matters is that they were all 3 were found guilty, and all 3 are going to be in jail for a long time, if not the rest of their lives. So, all right, listen, let's jump right into the elephant in the room. And not just in the room, but over in Europe, Eastern Europe. Mr. Vladimir Putin, the little sawed off, a little short, diminutive mini-me, mini wannabe MAGA dude, the leader, the president of Russia. He's invaded his neighbor, Ukraine. As a matter of fact, way back in the day, you had the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union was Russia and all these other smaller countries that were really under this one umbrella of the Soviet Union. And so this little dude Putin wants to go back, what, 50, 60 years, 60, 70 years and recreate the Soviet Empire. But these countries basically wanted their independence because they didn't want to live under a dictatorship. And Putin, they're like, dude, you crazy. We not messing with you. We don't want to live under a dictatorship. We want to be free. We want to be able to speak our mind. They wanted to have some form of a democracy. Even though I know lately, we are not making democracy look like the best, the greatest, but I digress. That's a different conversation, but we still, if we can hold on to it, it's another show. I've talked about it. If we can hold on to this democracy, we still have it. So anyway, Putin wants to go ahead and he wanted to just recreate the Soviet Empire. And he's really, he's had a thing, he's had a little thing on about Ukraine, because Ukraine is on Russia's western border. And since they once were part of the Soviet Union and they got away from that, they formed their own independence and own government and all that. But Putin's been upset. Man, he's had a bug up his ass about that, really. So first he invaded there's a little country called Crimea. First it was Soviet Georgia in the same area. Then he invaded Crimea, which was, I think, if it wasn't a part of Ukraine, it's just south of Ukraine, right on there's like a sea there. I don't know if that's the Black Sea. I guess, I'm sure he could probably tell me. But anyway, so Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. There's already been death and destruction. And apparently the plan is that he wants to really take over the government, kick out their president, Ukraine's president, a guy named Zelensky, he was a comedian in another life, and now he's the president, and basically kick out their government, tell the military to stand down. He just wants to take over Ukraine and have them just kind of bow down at the altar of Vladimir Putin. They won't have to bow too far with his little short ass, but I digress. Now, something interesting before I bring on my guest. I saw where, I guess, our Secret Service, because one thing, we got some tools now. America ain't nothing to play with. And apparently that there's some in our government, I think this was led by the CIA. I'm going to check. There was a psychological profile of Mr. Vladimir Putin, who lived in poverty as a kid, lived in a roach-infested slum. He was a former KGB agent. Basically, that's like being in the CIA. That's Russia's version of the CIA. So the psychological profile of Vladimir Putin is one of a paranoid man with an inferiority complex who is a megalomaniac. That's like an ego that's like beyond control. That's just delusional. He wants to bring down other nations to Russia's level. Because Russia is really a failed state. It's a huge country, very powerful militarily, because they got a lot of nuclear weapons, and that's the scary part. They got about just as many as we do. So the two of us could really just like annihilate the human race. But I digress. I'm not going to speak that into existence, but that's a fact. And for a while, that both countries had agreed to okay, we're going to get rid of some of these nuclear weapons, because I think we both have somewhere in the tens of thousands. Both countries have over 20,000 nuclear warheads, which would really could turn the planet into dust. So, but outside, Russia is really economically, they're a very poor country. The only thing that they really have to offer the world, that the world really buys from Russia legally, is oil and gas. So Putin really wants to create, like here, he wants to create division, which he doesn't have to, because he's really, what's the best way to explain it? For my interpretation, he's really like a white nationalist, like a white supremacist that speaks Russian. He believes in that ideology. You notice you won't see any black folks around Vladimir Putin. Andy, I guarantee you, I'll give you $1. I'll give you $10 for any picture that's not photoshopped where you can show Vladimir Putin, especially when it comes to his cabinet and people in his government. Find a picture with Vladimir Putin and anyone in his government with a black person in it. I'll wait, because you won't find it. So he's done everything. He's interfered with our elections, and he's really supported Orange Hitler and had wonderful things. And that's a complicated relationship, because the orange dude, let's put it this way. No American bank would loan Orange Hitler any money. So the only place that he could get money from was from these wealthy dudes they call oligarchs in Russia, and Putin, because Putin's the biggest oligarch. Arguably, he's supposed to be the richest man. And how did they get this money? Basically, from just stealing it from the government and from their people. But let me bring up my guest, because he is the military expert. He's been a guest on the show. You've seen him, ladies and gentlemen. Retired Master Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, dear friend, full disclosure, family, first cousin. Very proud of him, and always honored when he's able to join me and bring his expertise to the show. I welcome Mr. Roy Gray. How are we doing, Master Sergeant?
Oh,
Thank you. I wanted to do it. I always want to do that. But, I feel you gave me your blessing, because I remember when you first came on, I asked your permission. I'm like, listen, man, I don't want to I'm not trying to be phony here. I never served. You did. I have the utmost respect, but I just love that channel alone might have almost got me back in the day. But you were the right one, because I would have been like, no. The first time they'd cuss me out, I'd be like, listen, I tell you what, I'm out, dude. Because if you cuss me one more time, it's going. So they'd probably shot my ass. They're like, just take him out there, shoot his ass, and it'd have been a shootout. So. You got to know your strengths and limitations. So I knew mine. So I was like, nah, I ain't really got that kind of discipline for the, I got discipline, but not that kind of, but you definitely, you're the right person, man. So once again.
You could come up with.
Wait, say that again.
I said, you'd be surprised what you could come up with under the right kind of pressure.
That's what I hear. You told me that too, but man, listen, cuz you know me, I'm a Mator's. I'm stubborn, man. And ask my mother, who is watching and a huge fan of you, is like, Jeannie, he is stubborn. But I digress. So listen, I want to thank you for coming on. So I guess my and it was really part personal description, and then I was looking on TV, and I guess, like I said, somewhere in the Defense Department, the CIA, you would know, who does these psychological profiles of other leaders. How accurate was my introduction in terms of where we are now with this invasion, and just give us your initial take of what's happening over in Ukraine, and where do you see it going?
Well, your opening was very accurate about Putin. He's a little short guy, paranoid, and wants to run the world. He wants to go back to old Mother Russia, but that's not going to happen. No. But here's a good sign. The people in Russia are already protesting.
Yeah, I saw that.
Arresting Russian citizens for protesting the war. Now, this is just getting started, and I believe it's going to get much bigger as time goes on. Now, he doesn't want anybody to see these Russian citizens protesting. So he's going to do everything he can to put a stop to it. But I don't think he's going to be able to control all of them. And I think it's only going to get a lot worse as time goes on. And so this lets you know that the Russian people, especially a lot of the younger people, they are tired of living under a crazy little dictator who wants the world. They want no parts of this. One young lady spoke about how she loved Russia, but she thought all of this is wrong and he's sick. And so they want no part of this.
Wow.
And they want to do something about him. And she even said she thought about leaving Russia, but she didn't know where she would go. But the bottom line is the Russian citizens, they want no parts of this. And I think this is not going to go well for him.
And this was an interview you saw on TV. So the fact
Oh, yeah.
she had the courage and the fearlessness, because, you know, you can come up missing or you can wind
Oh, yeah.
up poisoned. Because, I mean, Putin has done this. He's murdered people. He's poisoned some of his political adversaries. I can't think of the guy's name that was over in London, and they poisoned him twice and he damn near died.
He's in now.
Okay, right. He is in jail now. You're right. So for her to be willing to go on camera and be like, listen, I love Russia, but his ass, he got to go. So that says a lot. That says a lot, Master Sergeant. It does. Yeah,
when you have the citizens already against him. So hopefully that will help out some, and hopefully the demonstrations will grow, and that will make it even much worse for him. But I mean, the whole world is watching him. The world economy is attached to everything that's going on.
Yes.
So, you know, we're all going to suffer, you know, some way. And like we talked about earlier, the Chinese need to come on and get on board too, because they are also going to suffer the longer this keeps going on, or if things start to escalate. The Chinese are going to be drawn into this also, because their economy is going to suffer too because of what the Russians are doing. So they might as well, you know, join the rest of the world and protest this guy and get him to stop this and pull his troops out of there.
If you think, because he seems to be just really like on a mission, and like I said, I mean, he's really just got a bug up his ass about, especially Ukraine. I guess maybe because Ukraine is literally, they share a border, and they were once part of even though there are a lot of countries, but I guess we should point this out. So let's explain what NATO is for people that's watching. So as a matter of fact, Master Sergeant, you can do it much better than I can. In simple terms, for a fifth grader to understand, explain to the viewers exactly what is NATO. And Ukraine is not a part of NATO, but explain to and why that's important to us, because President Biden said once again today, if the Russian army steps 1 foot into a NATO country like Poland, which is not far from the western border of Russia, then it's on in terms of American troops. It's like, okay, now you have to deal with us. So explain to people in real simple terms, what is NATO and why that's important and how we can get drawn into this because of NATO.
Now, first of all, remember, Donald Trump tried to dissolve NATO.
Yes.
That's why I believe that he and Putin came up with something while he was in office. I believe that they talked about this. I truly believe that.
I believe you're right. It's funny, I haven't heard anybody mention that. Thank you for sharing that perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump tried to disband NATO. He said they weren't doing their part and we need to get rid of it. He did everything he could to get rid of NATO.
Right. They're not paying us enough money, and y'all owe us some money. You need to give us more money. Yeah, he was.
So that looks real suspicious to me. But now NATO is just a group of European countries along with the United States. We banded together to basically protect the world, because in the back of everybody's mind, I think they've always thought that Russia might try to come back to life again, just like he's doing right now. Okay. And they wanted to make sure that Europe was protected, because they didn't want to go through another thing like with Hitler and the Nazis.
Yes.
So they wanted to make sure they were protected. So they formed this group of nations along with the United States. And Putin doesn't want the Ukraine to join NATO because he shares a border with them, although he has never been threatened or anything. But he didn't want them to join NATO. But NATO has sworn, they have sworn to protect each other. So that's why when Joe Biden told him, if you come across the border, there's going to be a problem. Hopefully, now he is sick and crazy. Hopefully he doesn't try. Now the president has already said that Putin has other things on his mind. He may be thinking about coming across the border. A lot of people are going to die. But in the end, he has nobody to back him up. Now they have superior weapons just like we do. But he has nobody to back him up. The Chinese are all about money.
Yes.
They don't want that money. I guarantee you. So if a shooting war starts, a lot of people are, somebody has to die. That's just the way it is. But in the end, Russia has no one to back it up. Who? You can't name anybody.
No, you're right.
North Korea, but that will, and the Chinese, well, like I said, the Chinese are not going to back him because they're all about the money. So he's going to be on his own. So it's up to him to decide what he's going to do. We will lose a lot of people, but in the end, he will not prevail. He can't because the entire world is already against him.
Yeah.
And he will not prevail.
Which makes a lot of sense when you said that you would, and I'm surprised I haven't heard other people mention it, some of these experts, that if you think about when Orange Hitler and because Trump was just like bowing down to this little dude. It's like, oh, he took, I never forgot, it was a press conference shown globally, and I think they were in Helsinki, and Trump was asked a question, and I guess it was about how Putin interfered with the election, especially that got him in office. And he took Putin's word. Well, Putin said he didn't say it, and he was very powerful and strong when in his denial. And why would he? So he took Putin's side in public over his own intelligence agency.
Exactly.
No president. What? People like, what the hell? What just happened? They couldn't believe it.
And we still have people that support Donald Trump. Even after that, traitors, all of them, every last one of them.
Let me ask you, Master Sergeant Gray, being in the military, and I know you're still very well connected with people retired and still in the military. What was the reaction inside the military when they saw Trump basically just bow down to a foreign leader and take his word over his own military intelligence agency? How do a lot of people in the military really, even though they won't go on camera and say it, feel about him when they saw him do that?
Look, just unbelievable. I can't even tell you all the names that I called him.
Well, you could if you wanted to. You could. This is my show. Feel free. It ain't too many you probably called him that I haven't already called him.
We might be. And everybody was just shocked and and still to this day cannot believe this. Our supposed to be president taking sides with Putin, unbelievable.
Yes, our commander in chief.
And yet you still have some so-called Americans still following this man to this day after all he's done. Now, don't forget that the people in the national security agencies and CIA, they were afraid to give Trump information because they thought he might tell Putin some of the stuff that we knew. Giving up our secrets, and then the Soviets would know how we found out if Trump told him. And remember, Trump had secret meetings with Putin. Yes. What did he?
Yes. What did they talk about? I'm glad you asked that or made that point, Master Sergeant, which leads me to this question. I've thought about it, and I heard some other people in a conversation talking about this. So here's the question: aren't all ex-U.S. presidents given like not that presidential daily briefing, but don't they get like defense briefings? Like if there's going to be military action, don't they find out ahead of time?
Yes,
they do.
but I'm willing to bet not much information is going his way.
Okay, that was my question in fear. Thank you for
And
answering that.
I strongly doubt that they are telling him much of anything. Because also, now here's another point that I believe. The Russians are very sneaky. They record everything. When Donald Trump went to Russia, I think it was for the Miss Universe pageant or whatever.
Yes.
Now, we all know that he likes the young girls.
Yes.
I would bet my left leg that they recorded him doing something in the hotel. I guarantee you.
I believe, yeah, I've said that all along. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That they have something on him. Because in a former Russian country, they showed a hotel. And in that hotel, every room had a camera and a recorder recording the people that came in there.
Wow.
So I believe that they have something on Donald Trump. That's why he acted the way he did toward Putin.
And he still does. He's still
Yes.
praising him now, talking about he's a genius and he's brilliant. And he said Joe Biden, President Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris are weak. In what way? But I know that's just BS. That's just bullshit. Let me just call it the way it is.
He should be tarred and feathered, man, and kicked out of the country.
Yes, because you are a private citizen. And,
Yeah.
the laws of treason apply to you now, especially now that you're not president. So let's talk about real quick. You hear people talking about, well, there's going to be pain. And for me, the biggest thing that I see, now gas prices are already high. There's talk that they're going to go higher. President Biden said he's going to release, we have like these strategic reserves. As a matter of fact, I know you're familiar with it. If you want to, could you kind of explain to the viewers in layman's terms exactly what the strategic reserves are in terms when it comes to gas and petroleum?
Now, we have these reserves, and I believe that the government has released some of this before in the past.
They have, yes.
And they will probably do this again if necessary. But let me make this point.
Okay.
A lot of our gas and oil, it doesn't come from Russia.
Very little. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But if one drop of water falls on the ground, these Arab countries raise the price of oil.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anything, any little thing.
Excuse.
If the wind blows in a different direction,
Right.
they price.
Yes.
So I'm willing to bet they may use this as an excuse to raise the price to enrich themselves.
I think they have. I mean, today, gas, oil on the world market closed at $99 a barrel. It went up to like $105 a barrel earlier, so it closed right at $100 a barrel. So I agree with you. Now, I got a solution for that, Master Sergeant. Let me see. I want to get your take. And I was talking about this with the mayors, and I've been thinking about this for a while. There's so much concern about, oil and gas and gasoline. Buy electric cars. Because, and now, you've seen the commercials. I mean, the electric cars, I mean, those like Toyota Priuses, that you would see like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Man, now they got like a Cadillac. I think they got like an Escalade. It looks like an Escalade. Regina King is doing the commercials. I'm like, damn, that thing looks good. Audi's got an electric vehicle. BMW, Mercedes got one, and I'm like, man, if I wasn't paying college tuition for Allie, I'm like, I'd have went out, and I'm still trying to figure out a way to get that. So the point I'm trying to make is that they really look nice. These cars are luxury cars from a design standpoint. They look good. You want to buy them, and they're electric. You don't have to worry about it. Y'all can raise the prices of gas, and even though, and I know it's all relative, but I got to just say this, and Master Sergeant, you've served all over the world. America, listen, I get it. I get it, and there are a lot of folks, poor working class, so, gas $4, $5. Chicago, I'm sure it's probably premium $5 a gallon. LA and California, some areas is damn near $6.
Yeah.
But listen, let me just explain something to you all. We have been spoiled. Talk to people who live in Europe, and talk to somebody who lives in Paris or London or Germany. Master Sergeant, will you tell them how much money people in these foreign countries have been paying for gas for decades?
Oh, yes. Because now, if our gas goes up to like $5 a gallon, we are like, oh my God, it's always been over $5 a gallon.
Yes. 30 years ago. And now correct me, you were in the military in the 80s. 30 years ago, I guarantee you in Europe, they were paying $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 for gas. Am I right or wrong?
Easy, without a doubt. But now let me make another point that nobody wants to hear. When President Obama was the president, during that time, we hardly used any oil from any of these foreign countries. Yes. It was the lowest ever.
Yes.
Ever. And we had 2 oil men in the White House. 2. Sure. Bush Sr. and Bush Jr.
Sure did.
But when Obama came in, we used less petroleum from these foreign countries. Now, how is that?
That part right there, y'all. See, you only get that information right here on the Geno Jones Show from an military expert contributor like Master Sergeant Roy Gray. Tell the truth, shame the devil. We're going to tell you what you may not want to hear, but what you need to hear. The truth. Tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Wow. So in closing, where do you, with the military expertise, just understanding, world politics, geopolitical situations, and you've been watching this for a minute, where do you see this and how do you see this ending? Do you see Putin, and I know it's really unfair because trying to ask you to kind of get in the head of a megalomaniac and a little mini-me crazy dude is kind of hard, but where do you see this going? Do you see Putin sending his military, really trying, not just President Biden, but all of NATO and all those other countries, and that means the United Kingdom, so Great Britain and Germany and France. Where do you see it going?
Well, now,
and how do you see it end? Maybe
it's tough to say because on the news they interviewed people in Russian politics, and they didn't think Putin was going to invade this country. Yes. They didn't think he was.
True. Yes.
But not only is he sick, he's crazy and unpredictable. So it's tough to say what he's going to do. But now here's another thing that they need to take into account. Now, you have a lot of old guys in the Russian military, been around a long time. They're hardliners. But you also have a lot of young people who probably don't want any part of this. And the question is, will they really fight? Because you're fighting the whole world. You're going to be against the whole world.
That part.
Will the Russian troops fight? Remember, they got their ass whipped in Afghanistan. Will those troops fight if it comes to an all-out war? Because you're going to be fighting against the entire world, just like Germany and Japan tried to do. And how did it out?
Not very well.
You can't predict what he's going to do, but if he does, if he crosses that line, he's done. He's done. Hopefully, I'm praying that he doesn't, but nobody knows because this guy's crazy. He is crazy. So hopefully he doesn't. But if he does, I don't think all his troops want to fight. And we know the Russian citizens don't want any part of this. So he's got the West against him. He's got his own people against him. And I'm sure he's going to have some of his own military folks against him also. Because it's not like the volunteer force in the United States. We voluntarily go. In Russia, they don't have much choice.
Right. He says, look, fight, and you fight or you get killed. You got two choices. Fight and let somebody else kill you, or don't fight and I'm gonna kill you, or I'm gonna have my goons kill you. So
hopefully hopefully he wakes up and we can end this thing. But in his current state of mind, there's just no telling which way we're going.
Ladies and gentlemen, my girl Joy Reid, she may have Malcolm Nance, but I have Master Sergeant Roy Gray, the best military expert in the business. All right.
And wait, hey, before you go, now let us remember what I said about Orange Hitler making a deal. He tried to disband NATO.
That's an excellent point. It really is. And now because it all makes sense. It all comes together. Because just imagine had that happened and you didn't have NATO around. Then Putin would be like, who gonna stop me?
Exactly.
He would just, Hitler Part 2, just
look,
Poland.
Look, I don't have a degree in journalism. I didn't go to the Surface Warfare College. No one has said anything about him and Trump making a deal to disband NATO. Think about it.
Listen, it makes sense to me. Like I said, the best military expert in the business, ladies and gentlemen. I got him right here, Master Sergeant Roy Gray. As always, thank you. May God continue to bless and have favor on you and your family. I'll close it. How was that? Was that pretty good? Oh, I held it too long. Okay, you gotta coach me up. Like it's more like
good enough.
That was good enough. He's like, that's good enough. Don't try, cuz that ain't for you. Go on and be funny and tell jokes and do your show. Leave the military stuff to me. All right, Master Sergeant Roy Gray, man. Love and respect. Thanks again.
Right.
I know my mother, like I said, your biggest fan there, first cousin. She's watching, and tell Sonny I said hi. I didn't know he was gonna be on today. All right, thank you, man. All right, that's
all right.
Master Sergeant Roy Gray, as always. Listen, the man knows his stuff. Made some excellent points to me, and nobody's talking about that. About a deal, but it makes sense because there were some times that Putin and Orange Hitler had conversations and nobody was around. Even like the staff's like, no, it's just them two. But it makes sense. And Orange Hitler was talking about getting rid of NATO because he was doing Putin a favor. Just imagine if NATO was disbanded, if we didn't have NATO today. Oh, Putin would really feel bold. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, God. Most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones channel. You can do it. Well, if you're watching, you probably have already done it. But if you haven't, if you just happen to tune in and you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting on? If you haven't told everybody that you know, everybody you don't know, strangers, everybody that you like, that you love, that you can't stand, doesn't matter. Tell them all to subscribe to the Geno Jones channel right here on YouTube. Subscribe, share, and like this, because this episode, like every episode, this episode from a military standpoint and military strategy and education was fire. So subscribe, share this episode, and like every episode. Copy the link, email it, or email them the whole show to somebody that you like, that you love, or you can't stand. Send it to them. All right. The Geno Jones Show brought to you this week by the 2022 Charleston Black Expo. Buy your tickets now. Go to blackexposouth.com. Saturday, March 12th at the Charleston Area Convention Center. You've got educational seminars and you've got celebrity speakers like Anthony Anderson. He is like one of the stars. Now, Anthony, bro, man, can you bring Tracy with you too? How about that? So one of the main stars of Blackish, Anthony Anderson, is going to be the keynote speaker. Also, gospel superstar Kiera Sheard is going to be there. It's going to be like an R&B Southern Soul, like a day party. Roy Chip Anthony, vendors, shopping, food. Speaking of food, Friday night, the night before the 2022 Charleston Black Expo, is the Taste of Black Charleston. It is the event of the year. As a matter of fact, you'll see that commercial coming up in about 60 seconds. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. He is on Instagram, Kelby Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones and Bruce Gage, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Allie Jones is on Instagram. Check out her Instagram page, her designs. Oh, the drip on her Instagram page. As a designer, the drip is just fabulous. Allie Jones is Lexi with 2 X's, LEXXIE _ underscore is that line at the bottom. Lexi with 2 X's _ Nicole Designs. Bruce Gage is on Instagram. Now, he has a clothing line. As a matter of fact, most of the clothes you see is part of his Mario Uomo line. So on Instagram, his Instagram page is Miglio is an Italian word. Miglio di Mario Uomo, MIGLIODIMARIOUOMO. Or just do a search Bruce Gage on Instagram. We'll just go back and rewind after the show what I just said and check out his Instagram page. He's got his fall winter 21 and 22, and he's already got some of his spring 22 collection. But man, the fall winter collection for 21 and 22, that drip is just precious. You got to check it out. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for watching, Mother. I know you're watching. I love you more than life itself. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Friday tomorrow. No, Friday. Let me get it right. It's here on the show. It is Friday. Yay, it's Friday. Friday edition of the Geno Jones Show, kicking it off 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out in LA. So Central Time, 5:30, West Coast Time, 3:30, Hawaii, 1:30, and wherever you are. Just think about East Coast Time in America, 6:30 p.m. Figure it out from there. All right. One more thing before I get out of here, and then we're going to give you some information about the Taste of Black Charleston, part of this year's 2022 Black Expo. Once again, you can buy your tickets, blackexposouth.com, but I leave you with this phrase, these words, always, please be blessed. Thanks for watching. Once again, thank you to my guest, retired Master Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Roy Gray.
It's the event of the year, the 2022 Taste of Black Charleston, Friday, March 11th at the Ladson Exchange Park. Join us for a variety of chefs, caterers, and restaurateurs from across the area as they compete to be the best of the region. Featuring America's Got Talent singer Ray Singleton and celebrity chef Carlos Brown. It's the Taste of Black Charleston. Good friends, great food, and a grand time. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit blackexposouth.com.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.